This
discuss about
conference will
TOR.
now be recorded.
We'll discuss about TOR, that is transfer of requirements. So, what is transfer of requirements? Whenever we create a sales order, system will create order requirements. That is nothing but in a sales order, we will have confirmed quantity plus confirmed delivery date, right? So, whenever we create an order, there is transfer of like order requirements. So, these requirements has to be transferred to the plant so that system could perform MRP and confirm the quantity and delivery date into the sales order. So how this process happens? That is through this concept called as TOR, transfer of requirements. So transfer of requirements, it's a major integration. It's an integration between SD, MMPP, FI, QM, many modules. So we know what is availability check from the last session, but availability check is an option. Okay. So TOR is mandatory. TOR is mandatory, but availability check is optional. That means whether you perform availability check or not, TOR is mandatory. Okay. Without TOR, we can't even perform availability check. So whenever we create an order, system will transfer this requirements, the order requirements. What is the order requirement here? That's nothing but confirmed quantity plus confirmed delivery date. So that that requirement should be transferred to plant so that system can check whether this material is available to be delivered on that particular date or not. If it's not available, then system, if it's available, that's okay, delivery invoice. But if it's not available, then system will run MRP, and if raw material is available, we'll start production, finish the goods, and standard process. If even raw material is also not available, then system raise a purchase order for the vendor to get the raw material, then start the production, delivery, and invoice. Right? So whenever we create a sales order, first TOR has to be performed. For that, there are a couple of prerequisites. The prerequisites are same when it comes to availability check and TOR, but in the availability check, we have one additional prerequisite comparing to the TOR, that is checking group 0102. That is one additional which we maintain at the availability check, if not other three parameters. Because as we discussed, if you want to perform availability check, there are four prerequisites, right? Out of the three prerequisites are same here in the TOR. What is that? In schedule line, assembly, requirement and availability should be active, the checkboxes, which we have seen in the last session, and requirement class, requirement and availability should be active checkboxes, which we have seen last time. The requirement type should come into sales document. So today let's discuss what is this requirement type and requirement class, and how this requirement type will be determining into sales document, that is through a criteria. Very important interview question. So what is the criteria to determine requirement type into sales document? Many times this question was asked. Strategy group, MRP group, item category plus MRP type. Okay. But what is this requirement type and requirement class? These are major integration between SD and PP module. If someone asks or in the interview they ask a question about PP integration, this is one integration between SD and PP module. Okay, very important. So whenever we create a sales order, first requirement type will determine in sales document. Okay, first requirement type will determine into sales document. So requirement type is a dummy value. It does not have any controls actually. It's a dummy value, but it will help us to determine requirement class. The actual configuration is at the requirement class. Okay? The actual configuration is at requirement class. But to determine requirement class, first we need requirement type. So if I create a sales order, So what is that? First, when we create a sales order, requirement type should be determined into sales document. So in interest also there's question like where do we see this requirement type in sales order? Okay, where in the sales order where it is getting determined? Okay, so whenever we create a sales order, first requirement type should come into sales document. So in the sales order, where can we see that? Under procurement tab. When you go to procurement tab, you see here requirement type. So first requirement type should come into sales document. But this requirement type is a dummy value. It does not have any controls, but it will help us to determine requirement class. So first requirement type should come into sales document. This will allow us to determine requirement class, and requirement class has all the configurations. How this particular requirements has to be transferred to plant. How the requirements has to be transferred to the plant. Requirement class has all the configuration. But where do we tell the system? That is, if 041 is requirement type, then what is your requirement class? You see here, if 041 is your requirement type, then your requirement class is also 041. But where do we tell that to the system? Where is this configuration? And this is major integration between SD and FI. Sorry, SD and PP module. So let me show you in the system. But is this concept clear, anyone? Everyone? Is this concept clear? When we create a sales order, first requirement type should come into sales document. Under procurement tab, we can see it. But requirement type will not have any controls. It's a dummy, just like distribution channel or division. But this requirement type will allow us to determine requirement class because there is assignment. I'll show you where is that assignment in the PP module. So it will help us to determine requirement class, and requirement has all the configurations. How the requirement has to be transferred to the plant. Right? Is this clear until what we discussed now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let me take you to, because see, PP integrations are very few and you need to know them. Okay, MM and FI integrations we see throughout, but PP integrations are very few. You will stand out. Okay, if there are 10 consultants, out of that you will stand out if you know PP integrations. So where is this particular requirement type, requirement class, that assignment and everything? It is under the production module. So SPRO, and now let's go to production. Okay, in the production planning, PP, under PP, demand management, under this planned independent orders, PIR, under this planning strategy. Anyone, what is strategy group? At least where did we discuss the strategy group? Anyone? Where did we see the strategy group? Where is strategy group? It's in the material master, MRP 3 view. I told you already at that time, when you go and watch the video again, you might be knowing important introduction. What is strategy group, right? So planning strategy, define strategy. This is all PP module configuration. Define strategy, and here you can see that strategy group is 10, make to stock, 20, make to order. So if I go for 20, that is make to order, and if I see the details, you see here, we are telling system requirement type is KE. If the requirement type is KE, then requirement class is 040. And one more thing, very important, in the real time, we don't change these values. These values we'll be using as it is. It will get very complicated if you change the standards in the requirement TOR concept. So we don't change any value because it has a lot of implications. So we use the standards as it is. You see, if we are telling system, if the for make to order, if the requirement type is KE, the requirement class should be 040. That is what we discussed here. Let's assume that if KE comes here, system knows this should be 040. How system knows that if this is KE, this should be 04040? You see here, this is where we mention it. If I go to the standard, maybe make to order, make to stock, make to, let's see 11, what it is 11, make to stock. Okay, KSL, KE, these all are standard anyway, but I hope you understood, right? So here you could see 041, 011, standard, make to stock process. Requirement type is also same. For KE 040, again, IPO, individual purchase order. If this is KEB requirement type, this is KEB requirement class, right? So we are seeing this configuration under PP module. We are telling system, if this is the requirement type, then this is the requirement class. So it's clear right now how system knows that in a sales order, if you get the requirement type in the backend, how system is pulling the requirement class, correct? This is the same configuration. Now we will repeat in SD module. Okay, same configuration. That is where the integration happening. Whatever you are seeing here, this is the same. We'll repeat in the SD module. So now let's go back to the actual configuration of TOR. So now let's go to the sales and distribution, basic functions, and availability check and TOR, and TOR define requirement class, requirement type. So first let's see requirement type. So whatever we have configured in the PP module, you see the same here. If your requirement type is KE, here you are telling your requirement class should be 040, right? Whatever we have seen the configuration in the PP module between the requirement type and class, the same configuration is also available in SD module for the integration. If this is KE 040, your IPO process KEB, then this is KEB. If this is 041, this is 041, right? So same integration configuration between SD and PP module. So here you know that if the requirement type 041 comes here, then what should be the requirement class? Okay, so once system know that this is the requirement class, then let's go back and see requirement class. This is requirement class. And you see heavy configuration you will see here. I'll go with the first standard, let's say 041, order delivery and details. So here you have the configuration. And this concept is also an integration between CO module, controlling module, or costing. Okay, even CO module integration you see here in this concept. Okay, so where is that actual CO? And see, CO module is not mandatory in every project. We say FICO, right? But FI is in every project, but CO is optional. CO is not mandatory in every project. You see, CO happens here, the CO configuration. We'll come back to that later. But what is the one prerequisite we discussed? We discussed that in a requirement class, requirement and availability checkboxes should be active. You see, availability check and requirement, both the checkboxes are active. In the standard, we don't have much of configuration. That's it. So here we are telling system, you perform TOR and you also perform availability check, both. In make to order, do we need availability check?
No, not required.
Not required, right? So if I go back to 040, what is make to order? Yeah, make to order. But here we have some additional controls. In the make to order and IPO, we have, there are some additional controls. So this is prerequisite. You have to activate this, but there is special stock indicator here. Did we discuss about any other special stock earlier? Anyone? Any special stock indicator earlier?
Yes, regarding safety stock,
Right?
we have this.
Item category, right? In the item category, same IPO process and make to order process. Safety, not safety stock. So IPO process and make to order. In this both the process, we discussed about special stock indicator. Even in the requirement class as well, the special stock indicator is applicable only for these two processes. Okay, only for these two process. And what is this purpose? We will discuss later when it comes to the business process of IPO and make to order. We'll discuss in detail what is the purpose of this. But make sure you know that this particular special stock indicator is available just like the item category. It is available in the IPO process and make to order process. For both, it is applicable. The purpose we'll see when it comes to the business process. Account assignment category. This field, account assignment category, as I just told you, FI is mandatory in every project, but CO is not mandatory. Okay. So we say FI CO, but CO is optional. There is no CO in every project. So by default, SAP provides a CO integration, E, right? But if you don't have a CO module in your project, you have to change it to M. M means without CO. M means without CO. E means standard. But M is individual customer without CO. Okay. So that's the configuration in the requirement class. But as I told you, right, it is not that simple. This would be in the real time, you'll be having masters who do this all activities. So come back but we don't touch or change any values in this particular concept. It would be the same. So requirement type, you know it. The requirement class, you know it. But how this requirement type will come into sales document? Anyone? How requirement type comes into sales document? There's a criteria, right? There is a criteria for determining requirement type into sales document. This question was asked in an interview, very recent interview. In the last season interview, March or April, May, they asked this question. Okay. What is the criteria to determine requirement type into sales document? First, system checks in strategy group, then item category plus MRP type. So where is strategy group? Anyone? Where is strategy group?
The material master.
Material master MRP 3 view, right?
MRP3.
MRP3 view. But my business requirement is system should determine requirement from item category plus MRP type. The first option should be item category plus MRP type, not strategy group. By default, strategy group. Then only system go to item category plus MRP type, right? But I want it in the other way around. Like this should be the first option, item category plus MRP type, and then system should go to strategy group. So where is this control? Yeah, where is that control? That is here. You see this configuration? Determination of requirement type using transaction. Okay, determination of requirement type using transaction. So with the combination here, the combination of with item category plus MRP type, right? You see this field is called as origin of requirements or origin of requirement type. How the requirement type should be determined into sales document is controlled by this field. Okay, blank means strategy group, then only go to item category plus MRP. Okay, first is strategy group, then only item category plus MRP. But you see the option as one is nothing but item category plus MRP type. That means instead of strategy group, if you want item category plus MRP type, you need to change the option to 1. So how the requirement type should determine into sales document? Strategy group, item category plus MRP type. That is a sequence actually, the standard. But in the business, if the requirement is other way around, here where you need to change. And the field name is origin of requirements. Then define procedure for each schedule line category. What is the other prerequisite? In the schedule line category, requirement and assembly should be active, right? Requirement and assembly should be active. So where do we maintain that prerequisite? Here. Define procedure for each schedule line category. So choose your schedule line, and on the right side you see the fields. Yeah. CP, requirement and availability, both active. Standard system provides us both active, but if it is TOR, you don't need that actually. So just come back. Then this blocks minimum requirement for transfer of this all. So this three, what it controls is whenever you create a sales order, let's say if the order is created, but order is blocked by credit, okay? If the sales order is blocked by credit, so do you want to do TOR? Anyone? If order itself is blocked by credit, do we need to do TOR? No, right? Why would you reserve the quantity if the order itself is blocked by TOR? Right?
No.
So you don't need to do that. So how there is routines? You know routine, right? What is routine? Validation,
ABAP code.
right? Anywhere routine is a validation. Okay. So if order is blocked by credit, system should not confirm the quantity. It should cancel. Routine 101 takes care. In the IPO scenario, individual purchase order IPO scenario, if the order is blocked by credit, the system should not raise PR. Okay, PR should not be triggered. 102 routine. So these routines validate and check whether TOR has to be performed or not. Okay. So that's what the configuration about the TOR. Okay, this is the TOR. Once you set this all configuration TOR, that means you're telling system you transfer the requirements to the plant and then perform availability check as per the business requirement. But what is the logic here? The logic is if you want to perform availability check, then in the schedule line category and in the requirement, you need to activate both the checkboxes. That means all the 4 checkboxes should be active. But if you want to do only TOR, you don't need availability check. Then only requirement is enough. Make to order process, IPO process. Only requirement is enough. We don't need availability to be active, right? So this is about transfer of requirements. Now you just join the sequences. So first TOR will be performed and then system will perform availability check. And you know, right, from where system has to take the material. First system will check in unrestricted stock. If it's not there, then system will check in open orders, open deliveries, and there are many things, right? So where it has to be checked, right? So this is what the availability check concept is all about. So any questions on this? Anyone? So this is for today. We have not discussed about back orders, right? Did you discuss in the last session? Did we discuss about back order? Anyone?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Yeah. So this is TOR. So now let's move on to back order processing. So let me show you the configuration, then come back to the back order. So the back order configuration, you will see it under availability check. Under availability check, there is only one line configuration what you need to do, ATP logic. And you see this checking rule for back order process. We have 2 checking rules, right? 01, 02. There are 2 checking rules. It will tell where to perform availability check. The checking rule is, sorry, A and B. Checking rule is A and B. A tells system that it should perform availability check at the order level. B tells it should be performed at the delivery level. But if you want to perform back order processing, the checking rule is BO. Checking rule BO tells the system it's a backorder processing. So if you want backorder processing in your business, then you need to assign BO to your plant here. You need to assign BO to your plant. That means you're telling system you want to perform backorder processing. So once this configuration is assigned, then backorder processing is a user activity, end user activity, canceling and confirming the quantities. So how do backorder processing is done? That is with a T code. T codes are important. I told you, right? So are T codes important? Yes, but not all the T codes. Couple of T codes, whatever I was mentioning, those T codes are really important. Okay, but in the interview, they don't ask you, tell me the T code of backorder processing. No, they don't ask a question like this. Okay, so they just tell you. They ask you, what is V underscore RA? That's it. Okay, they'll not tell you, tell me the T code or something. What is V underscore RA? Because why they ask something like this? Because you'll be confused, right? Whether if that's a T code or a table or a field, you don't know it, so you'll be confused. So that's if they want to ask a T code, that's how they ask in the interviews. Okay, so V underscore RA, that is the transaction to perform backorder processing. And backorders cannot be performed in certain situations. We already discussed one scenario. But on what basis backorder will be performed? That means we say backorder processing is cancelling of the confirmed quantity of low priority customer and giving it to the high priority customer. But how does system know, like which is the highest high priority customer or who is the low priority customer? How does system know that? That's only basing on one subsequence in the customer master, that is delivery priority. Okay, delivery priority. That's only the subsequence how system identifies whether it is a high priority customer or a low priority customer. Okay, so you could see here one scenario, V underscore RA. There are two customers here, 65 and 70, and you could see this field, delivery priority. Customer 65, delivery priority is 03, that means low priority. But customer 70, delivery priority is 01, that means high priority. Okay, so there is only 100 quantity available, and first order 60 quantity confirmed for low priority customer, then 40 quantity confirmed for low priority customer. You could see here 60 and 42 orders. Order number 57 and order number 58, 60, 40 confirmed. But now we created an order for high priority customer 70 with order number 59, 0, not confirmed. So now we need to cancel the confirmed quantity of a low priority customer, that is 65 customer, and give it to 70 customer. So how do we do that? Now we execute the backorder processing, V underscore RA. Order number 58, you see, order number 58, that is low priority customer 40 quantity. Double click on this line, double tap on this line and delete that 40 quantity and make it blank so that it will become 0. Okay, now you see 59, go to order number. It is initially 40, right? Sorry, 0, right? Order number 59, double click this, and for order number 59, now assign 40. And now again you execute backorder processing. And you see here, order number 58, the low priority customer turned 0. And for high priority customer, order number 59, 40. 60, 0, 40, right? But here you see, it is 60, 40, 0. Right? So that's how actually system like confirms the backorder processing. Okay? So backorder processing is canceling the confirmed quantity of a low priority customer and giving it to high priority customer. So backorder processing is manual. Manual. User can choose between which order it has to be cancelled and to which order it has to be assigned. So user can choose on this. But rescheduling, there is also a concept called as rescheduling. So what is rescheduling? Rescheduling is also a backorder processing. Okay, rescheduling is also a backorder processing. but rescheduling is automatic. Okay, that means if you want to automate the process of backorder processing, then it is rescheduling. So system itself will decide the and confirm the quantity. What quantity has to be cancelled and confirmed will be decided by system itself. Backorder processing is manual, which backorder processing is manual, which user can choose and cancel select, but rescheduling will be done by system itself. V underscore V2. The T code is V underscore
Which one
V2.
is safe for Praveen?
Backorder processing.
Manual or
Backorder processing will give more control. Okay? Backorder processing will give more control to the customer. Okay. Yeah. So this is for today. Any questions? Please go ahead. We finished availability check. When I say availability check, it is availability check, TOR, and delivery scheduling. So tomorrow we'll discuss about credit management. That's again a major integration between SD and FI. So that we'll discuss tomorrow. Any questions, please go ahead.
low priority customer and high priority customer? It is depending upon the business volume or anything else, Praveen? Define.
That is a business call actually. As a consultant, we don't do that. So it can be by volumes, it can be by turnover, it could be anything. Okay, it's up to the business how they define this thing, customer as a high priority, medium priority. We only set the value and I'll give it to the customer 01, 02, 03. So that is up to the customer. When they are creating the customer, they will select it. But now in S4HANA, there is a very advanced backorder processing because you see, right, this backorder processing has lots of flaw. Only on one parameter, we are canceling the quantity and assigning the quantity, right? But in S4HANA, they have come up with a very major concept called as backorder processing with strategies. Whoever attended S4HANA, you might be knowing how it works. Yeah. So, any question, please go ahead.
After processing, we are confirming, unconfirming. At the same time, we are using CO06. What is the difference for both?
We are using CO09,
CO06. Unconfirm the
right?
confirm the 06.
CO09, 06.
06.
Okay. Yeah. So see, CO06, CO09, these are not backorder process. These are confirming. Let's say if metals are not available in this plant, you are searching in other plant, but you are not canceling the quantities and snatching it from other place, right? But here, backorder processing, you are doing only against the orders, not against the plant or different areas. Okay. Backorder processing, you are only canceling the quantities from the orders and assigning to the order. It's not canceling or taking the quantities from the plants or different different MMB area. So you're not doing that. Only orders. Okay. Yeah. So any other questions, anyone?
Praveen, when S4 HANA class is going to start?
23rd.
23rd.
Yeah.
Please include me also. In the same way.
So your voice is very low.
Can you please include me also?
Yeah. Text me on Saturday morning at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay. On WhatsApp, text me at 6 in the morning. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah. So good day, everyone, and catch up tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll discuss about credit management. Good day, everyone. Bye-bye.